How much more scattered does your thinking feel? Mercury has entered his detriment of Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is all about expansion. It's expansion through experience. It's the philosopher via experiencing life. And so when Mercury comes into a Jupiter ruled sign like Sagittarius, his precise empirical nature is challenged by the need to expand upon everything. As a Sagittarian, everything is an option. So when everything is an option, Mercury says, no, I need there to be a specification. I need to understand empirically what is 1 through 5. And Sagittarius says, there is no 1 through 5. It's all 1 through 5, and it's 1 through 500, it's 1 through 5,000, and that overwhelms Mercury, leading to a disorganized, scattershot approach to our communication style and the way that we understand information. We're also going to get a retrograde beginning on the 9th, which is going to start in Sagittarius and work its way back into Scorpio. So fortunately, we won't have to deal with the Sagittarius Mercury for that long, but then it'll return on the forward motion. So for the cosmological narrative for October 30th today, we're going to look at Mercury and his detriment of Sagittarius making a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. We're also going to look at Lilith in Scorpio making a quincunx to Chiron, Chiron in Aries in retrograde. And then we're also going to look at the fact that Chiron retrograde in Aries is making a sextile to the moon in Aquarius. So let's wrap it all together and let's tell the cosmological narrative for Thursday the 30th. So with Mercury in the superior position sextile to Pluto in Aquarius, I would expect this to be some sort of information that's brought to light about how we are expanding in life, because the prescription of action for Sagittarius is to expand, it's to take fences down, it's to explore, it's to discover. So Mercury is bringing information that is important to us in terms of expanding our horizons as people. We need to think about what Jupiter as a sign represents, and then we can understand Sagittarius and the types and quality of information that Mercury is bringing us. So with Sagittarius being a Jupiter ruled sign, Jupiter leads us through like examples and obstacles that will give us an opportunity to learn, to grow. And this is why I think a lot of times there's a little bit of a misconception behind him being the great benefic, because he's a great benefic in the fact that he's going to give you a challenge and an opportunity to overcome that challenge as a reward. He's almost like Saturn, but with a reward on the other end. He's like, but he knows you can do it. He encourages that you can do it. You know, that's Jupiter's energy. So when we apply that to a sign and quality like Sagittarius, we're essentially getting information that allows us to expand and to grow, and it sometimes is difficult to reckon with at moments because it's needed to, like, it's an information that we might need to conquest. It's something about ourselves, something we learn about the world, a fear that we learn about the world. And typically, again, Sagittarius is about experiencing the world. It's the philosopher via experience is what I say. So again, with Mercury in the superior position sextile to Pluto in Aquarius, we're quite likely getting some sort of information that's allowing us to expand and giving us an opportunity to grow as souls. And it's being favorably benefited with the Venetian sextile in between, connecting us to Pluto in Aquarius, which is now in forward motion, giving us examples of power dynamics and how those power dynamics have shifted the Aquarian areas of our life, how the power dynamics have shifted our service to the collective, how its service is working with others. And so I would expect with Mercury in the superior position here, I wouldn't expect for this to be any sort of tower moments just because Pluto is involved. I think that this is going to be some sort of information that allows us to understand what Pluto has been doing and how it basically allows us to expand. Think of this as a conscious evolution aspect, you know, and again, it's a sextile, so it's of the nature of Venus. What's Venus doing? Venus is occupying Libra at 21 degrees on the 30th. And so she is comfy in her domicile. She is harmonizing and driving our desire towards balance through harmonizing via communication. So regardless of where Libra's at in your chart, again, that energy is being expressed there. That Mercury and Sagittarius superior position sextile to Pluto and Aquarius is actually for the benefit of balancing our relationships via the quality of where Libra is for us. So if you're like a Leo rising and you're a third house Libra, it means that whatever that information that's coming about that involves these power dynamics and the opportunity to grow is allowing you to communicate something within your relationships that brings harmony and balance. If it's in your 7th house, it's going to basically bring information to the surface that's going to allow you to nurture or bring balance to your one-on-one relationships. If it's your 10th house, think of all of those qualities but apply to your career. So you kind of get the picture going from here. Concurrently at the same time, Lilith is in Scorpio making a quincunx to Chiron retrograde in Aries. So Chiron retrograde in Aries is it's the summation and culmination of our childhood wounds looked through the lens of Aries, which in this specific case, it's going to be our childhood wounds natally that are looked through the lens of individuality. How is that wound that we have affecting our opportunity and ability to express ourselves as individuals and show up in a self-serving but beneficial way? Because again, just self-serving is not negative. You need to self-serve. You need to make sure that your cup is full in order to pour out to other people's cups. And this is what Aries teaches us, is it's like we need to focus on ourselves sometimes for the self-benefit of growth. So Chiron retrograde Aries, it's all being mentally and emotionally stimulated, but that quincux with Lilith in Scorpio has been showing us how to transform some of our misdirected agency and escapism from fuel, from basically useless fuel to fuel. It's making something like able to be burned as a fire. And so that energy, that push-pull, that void, that suggests to me that we have this escapism that maybe we've been utilizing from the scorpionic area of our chart, but we're realizing that we're only doing it because of that chironic wound that's unhealed. And there might be a potential here to see that maybe there's going to be a need to transform our habits with that escapism, that misdirected energy that Lilith will often represent in these situations, because it's almost like we might not be able to conquer that childhood wound unless we deal with that escapism. Alternatively, this could be a push-pull with the chironic wound being triggered and our need to express some of that through Lilith's escapism and misdirected energy in the scorpionic area of our chart, where we transform and transmute some of that discomfort, some of that void space into something that works for us. But the quincux suggests that it's not like it's actually going to resolve anything. It might just kind of allow us to flow through that tension of our childhood wound being activated and our need for, to misdirect our energy into escapisms, addictions, things that kind of hold our energy and don't allow us to redirect our primality into a central focus in life. So the last aspect we're going to look at is another sextile, which is Chiron retrograde in Aries, making a sextile to the moon in Aquarius. And I think that this plays into the quincux between Lilith, because again, we're like having this pause, we're feeling this pause, we're probably being triggered, and we're like kind of wondering how to respond to it. Should we like kind of launch into our escapisms and use that as a remediation? And the moon in Aquarius suggests that we're being very detached and emotionally, again, like kind of like buzzwords, like emotionally intelligent about how we go about feeling our feelings in that specific regard. And the sextile with Chiron retrograde in Aries suggests that the moon is allowing us to detach from that wound and allow us to process it a little bit more. So again, maybe this is just going back to my original interpretation of the Lilith quincux Chiron. Maybe this energy that's being stirred up about our chironic wound is more so just about kind of getting through the moment and understanding how to integrate it, rather than being able to actually solve the problem. It's like, kind of like salving the wound without actually being able to address the core root of the problem at this time, at this moment. And that's kind of like something we'll have to deal with later. If you enjoy these spiritual and astrological narratives, I encourage you to check out my weekly astrological and divination-based workshop, Consciousness Conjunctions and Conversations. We get together every Wednesday. So today, every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. We have a lot of fun. We go through last week's transits and this week's transits, and I teach you how to delineate where these transits are taking place in your spiritual journey so you can better integrate the astrological information into your consciousness evolution, and you can learn about yourself. You can use it as a self-reflection tool, use it as a forecast tool, use it as a personal birth chart interpretation, a friend's chart, whatever, however you want to use it. My second promotion is that if you're interested in booking a reading with me, you can do so at the link in my bio, or you can message me on both Instagram or TikTok, where I have my menu posted. The messages go straight to me, so I will get them. I have financial and hardship pricing available, so if you are affected by the current downturn in the economy, no frets, no worries. We will coordinate, we will work something out. Very flexible, and I am here to help you on your spiritual evolution and your consciousness journey utilizing astrology. So until next time, y'all have a wonderful Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow.